Hi guys, in my last video we looked at switch statements, as you can see over here, and now we are done with them. In this video we are going to look at for loops in JavaScript. So let's delete this and start fresh. Now, for loops is a type of loop you can use in JavaScript where it loops through the block of code a number of times. And the structure of this for loop is for something something, and we have a code over here, code executed. Okay, now inside this bracket in our for loops we are going to have three statements. Say for example we want to output a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's say a code is going to be document dot write number and plus say x, and then plus and have a line break. There we go. Okay, what this does is, say for example, let's delete this for loop quickly so that I could explain what this is. Say I have var x equals 3, okay, and I say document.write number plus x plus br. Oops, I accidentally pressed the wrong one, and there we go. Now what this does is inside the document.write we are going to print out or output a text number because it's surrounded by the double quotes, and then we are concatenating something else. Concatenating is we'll talk about that, or I'll talk about that in my later videos, but basically what it does is combines strings together and numbers. Okay, so what it does is you output the number and you output the variable x. The value of the variable x in this case is 3, and what this does is we have another not a string, but we have an HTML tag called br, which is a line break. So what it does is it outputs number 3 and it goes to the next line. I'll show you why we need to, or we could add this in a few minutes. So what it does is adds this number string, and we have this variable value 3 of our variable x. So this is really useful when using the for loop. So let's get back to our for this, and we go over here, indent it and give it some space. There we go. Now inside our our brackets we are going to have three statements. Now because for loop is a loop which you loop a number of times you set as, we need three stuff. The first statement basically sets the variable. So say we have var x equals 1. Okay, so that sets the variable x equals 1. So we have x over here, so say if this was I, this will be I as well, like so, and if it was y it will be y, if it was a it will be a, and so on. I'll just keep it as I because there's no point changing back to x. So we say variable I equals to 1, and then we write I is less than 6. Okay, now the second statement, the statements are divided by the semicolons, and the second statement basically defines the condition for the loop to run. Okay, and you'll understand what this does after I write the third statement. The third statement, say I plus plus, okay, I don't need that anymore, increases the value of I every loop. So what it does is basically say initially the variable I equals 1, and as long as I is less than 6, do this document.write number and the value of I. And after you do that, increment or add 1 to I. So what it does is it outputs number 1, and then I is going to be 2, so it outputs a number 2, and so on until it reaches I equals 6. And because the loop only goes when I is less than 6, it will stop there. You'll see when I refresh my browser. There we go. What happens is initially I equals 1, so it the document.write number plus I outputs number 1, and the line break, the BR tag, basically puts it's the same as pressing enter, so it goes to the next line. And then because we have this third statement which increases the value of I by 1 using the increment each time the code block in the loop has been executed. So once the document.write number is executed, I is increased by 1. So on the next thing we say I equals 2, and because I is still less than 6, the document.write is executed, and after that I is increased by 1 until when I equals 5, and once it's executed, the document.write I now is equal to 6, and then because I is less than 6, it won't do any document.write anymore, and the for loop will stop. For example, say I change this condition to I is less than or equal to 6. Guess what happens? Okay, 3, 2, 1. What it does is it outputs number 6 as well, because I equals 6 is still within this condition, because I is less than or 6 is less than or equal to 6. So it will execute another document.write, output I as 6, so number 6, and when I equals 7 it will come to a halt. So this is the for loop. Now we can use we can set any variable, any value to the variable, which normally is a number, so that you can add or remove stuff, or increment or decrement, and this condition could be anything. I could be less than 5, 10, even 2000, and you could either increment, decrement, or like say I add 2 or something. Let's do I add 2. Okay, that's not working. Let's close that for now and re-enter that. Let's close that and change that back to I++, and there we go, that works. Okay, why doesn't I++ I+2 work? That's weird. Okay, forget about that. Let's try changing this to I minus minus. What that does, instead of incrementing, decrements, so it minuses 1 every time. So let's start off with I equals 10, and then when I is less than or equal to 1, it will stop. So what's wrong? I equals 10 and I is less than, in this case, because we are decreasing the number every time, we need to make sure that the condition is I is bigger than or equal to 1, and then decrement each time. So there we go, number 10 to 1, because we made sure that it's I is equal to or less than, or equal to or bigger than 1. If we don't want to use equal to, we could say bigger than 0 or even minus 1, so that it outputs the 0 as well. There we go. So that was a quick video on the for loop. The structure of the for loop is we have write for, we write 3, rewrite the brackets, we write the curly brackets, inside that we write the code here, and then inside that we write 3 statements. Statement 1, statement 2, and statement 3. And don't forget to divide the statements using the curly brackets, and make sure you have a curly bracket at the end of the code. Okay, in my next video we are going to be looking at while loops, which is similar to for loops but different slightly. I'll show you the difference as well in my later videos. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.